Season 3, episode 28 of the Swishlist Podcast. This is going to be a nightcap edition. We're going to cover some of these NBA games we've been able to watch for the last little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been debating with Roman for about 30 minutes before we jumped on this podcast about who had a better peak, Danny Granger or CJ McCollum. This guy wants to say CJ. I obviously said Danny because, I watched those games. And so I think we're coming in with a different kind of energy today. So it should be fun. We got to start with the games tonight. Jaden McDaniels comes out, calls out the entire Nuggets roster. Aaron Gordon doesn't play, and Denver looks like a disaster tonight. It was awful. I mean, this game was completely over from the start. I feel like the only people that were watching it and truly enjoying it were NBA fans and Timberwolves fans, which I'm both. So I watched every single possible second of the game. It was fantastic. We've gone 15 and 15 and 30 matchups. This was the 31st. So to take the win, I feel like nobody beats the Denver Nuggets like the Minnesota Timberwolves. They always do it in pummeling fashion or just something that just rips the heart out of Denver fans at the end. Dosunmu was unstoppable. He was able to drive the ball with reckless abandon. Julius Randle had some incredible dunks. That highlight with the Rudy pass where he dunks on, oh man, it was special. And speaking of special, Rudy Gobert was special. I've been one of the biggest Rudy Gobert haters on the internet for years, and pretty warranted. I mean, the moment I try and give this guy a compliment, he airballs a midi in the game. But I will say, he put the clamps on Jokic tonight. He made Jokic look unathletic and regressed to the mean. And the Denver Nuggets, when the usage rate that Nicole is able to command isn't giving them the same return that they need, wow, they look like a different team. Jamal Murray's shots just look so much less impactful. And this is one of the best games I've ever seen Gobert play on both sides of the floor. I was so impressed with him. The Timberwolves at their peak can play a style of basketball that does not require Anthony Edwards to have to become a superhero, which is special. And this is the whole reason why they got Dosunmu. This is the whole reason why they assembled this team. They are built to beat the Denver Nuggets. Their GM is the former GM from Denver. They put a team together that is meant to beat the Denver Nuggets, and I believe they will continue to do it in this series. Roman, anything stand out to you from this game?
No, I thought that was well put. That's exactly what it is. I think Jaden McDaniels made the comments before the game in order to hype up his team and make sure that they knew what they wanted to come in and do. And he said they wanted to establish themselves on the defensive end early. And that's exactly what they did. I think them missing Aaron Gordon was really big for the Nuggets. It affects their defense directly, and I think that inherently directs their offense. He plays that dunker spot really well. I think Jokic is missing him with Spencer Jones having to take that starting spot. Also in transition, even off of made baskets, it just seemed like Dosunmu was just able to attack anyone that he wanted. And then Rudy Gobert was just able to, take on this matchup. We've seen in these past 4 seasons, they played 31 times, right? So yeah. Rudy Gobert is able to take advantage of the matchup, and he played really good defense on Jokic. And then not to mention his offensive end stuff, a little Euro step pass for a little no-look layup. He played great. All the role players like Bones Highland hitting deep 3-pointers. Dante DiVincenzo continues to play incredibly well.
Yeah, good defense too.
Daniels, great defense. Daniels plays great defense and then brings the intensity. So again, like you said about Ant, it seems like they'd be good regardless if Ant is having a good game. And it seemed like he didn't have an incredible game tonight. Wasn't really that impactful. Did his thing, hit timely shots. But I think no AG makes this series very interesting, and it really hurts the Nuggets because you have to lean on Jamal a lot more.
I think Aaron Gordon's basketball IQ, he knows when to be in the dunker spot and he knows when to be at the 3-point line. He knows exactly when to back cut. He plays so well with Jokic and Murray, and it feels like when their back is against the wall and they kick it to Aaron Gordon, he doesn't miss those shots. He's able to
shooting 40% this season.
He stops the run or he extends it to force the timeout. Like, he's just that dagger player for Denver. And when they're missing that dagger, they just don't feel as lethal. Like, it's when you go from him to Spencer Jones, it's just, wow, feels like quite a drop off. So I'm pumped. I love it. This was a pivotal game because Minnesota at times, they kind of fall apart or they don't show up. And so now you go to a game 4 and they have so much momentum. And Anthony Edwards, all it takes is for him to see the ball go in a couple of times and he might just light it up for the rest of the night. So I'm hyped. Can't wait for game 4. Now you start looking at the Hawks and the Knicks.
Man, this series is so good. I mean, this is the one that I was saying that everybody should watch out for. Hawks were the best team in the East coming into the playoffs, and I think that's for good reason. CJ started to play his role. Jalen Johnson didn't have to switch up at all. Kuminga still comes off the bench and plays incredible. Like, this team they're fun to watch. Kuminga has 20 plus off of the bench, attacking everybody. It seems like nobody's able to defend this guy. And on the other side of things, Brunson needs some help. If OG is scoring almost 30 points this game, goes for 29 and hits just about every timely shot, there's no way they win this series. Seems like Cat is only there about every other quarter. As soon as he gets the right matchup, Cat's not doing anything out there. And OG is the only one hitting timely shots. I don't know if you saw Mikal Bridges' stat line today.
0 points.
Absolutely awful. 0 points.
Nothing.
Was it 1 rebound, 1
and
assist?
0 for 3 shots.
Just awful. Josh Hart, too. I think he had 2 points. Just did nothing for the team. Mikal Bridges, minus 26. Mitchell Robinson, his minutes, I think he was also close to minus 20 on the game. The players didn't help, and it showed in that final possession. CJ McCollum hits the go-ahead bucket. They get the ball to Jalen Brunson. He gets double-teamed on the baseline. Where does Brunson supposed to go with the ball? Nobody's ready, because this is the only player who's ready for the moment. So Knicks need to do a lot of inward look and improve.
Yeah, the Knicks need to get a better player to play with Jalen Brunson, a better player than Jalen Brunson to play with Jalen Brunson. The truth is, Jalen Brunson's never going to win a championship if he's your best player. It's just a fact. He's never going to beat the big teams in the East. He can't. And that's okay. Doesn't mean he's not a great player. He's still a great player. He just needs to play with someone better if he's going to win a title. That's all. And so if you're New York, accept that fact. Go out and make the Giannis trade. Make it happen. Move everything that you have to get Giannis, build around those 2 players, and you're fine. And on the flip side, every time I see Kuminga, and he's been dominating this series, I think about how embarrassing it is for the Golden State Warriors to have moved off of a player like this and to have kept Podziemski on the roster. They thought Podziemski was the answer, and you had this sitting on the bench, not getting minutes. And what happened in that play-in game? What did Pods do in that play-in game? You really could have used these minutes, couldn't you? It's such an indictment on Steve Kerr and the front office of the Golden State Warriors and their inability to develop any talent after they drafted the core around Steph Curry. They're awful at developing any young players. And the fact that you let Kuminga walk out of the building and he becomes this pivotal piece off the bench for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, with him and Jalen Johnson, and we've called this out from the moment that the trade happened, they are the most athletic duo in the league, the most athletic. They will defend 1 through 5 if they have to. They will run the floor. They will dunk the ball. And I love that Jalen tried Cat at the end, went right at him and then got the board and laid it up and in. Like, they're not afraid of anybody. They want to come rip your throat out, and they're going to try to do it. And if you let them hang around like the Knicks are, they will send you home. You will get the most embarrassing upset of the entire playoffs if you lose to this team. And so none of the pressure's on Atlanta. None. They were not expected to win. Nobody thought they were going to be able to do it. They were never expected to take the lead in the series. So when you go into game 4 and you're at home, there's no pressure on you. All the pressure is on New York. And now you have to see how those players respond. Because in game 3, the role players didn't respond. OG stepped up to the plate because OG has been a consistent playoff performer for years. I'm never surprised from a great OG game. This guy's got playoff pedigree. But you start looking at some of these other names, and it gets a little scary. And New York Knicks fans, with how much media hype that they get too, makes it that much more difficult for the Knicks to be able to do anything in the postseason.
Yeah, I think game 4 is going to be really important. The bounce back is 100% needed. You can't lose this game. I think the series is over if they lose this game. I mean, it's pretty obvious they'll go up 3-1, but
yeah,
I'm going to need to see a major bounce back from Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges, because the performance that we got from them was absolutely awful. You had Jordan Clarkson outperforming them in about 10 minutes of game time.
If you can't beat the Atlanta Hawks, what makes you think you could even come close to competing with the Boston Celtics?
Even just being down 2-1 right now.
Goodness gracious, you're going to get swept by Boston if you're not careful.
Yeah. Going into a round 2 with the thought of, with knowing that you were down against the Atlanta Hawks, is like CJ McCollum's leading the way. That's what Jalen Brunson was going up against in his prime. This is really bad for what could happen in the second round, even if they do make it out. If you have to go to 7 games, against this type of team, and that's how you make it out, it's not going to be good for round 2 versus Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown.
No, not at all. Speaking of Tatum and Brown, we get game 3, Celtics versus Sixers. I think one of the most important things that we can do is just call out what we said before. The Boston Celtics, they love to lose a game in a series. This is kind of what they do. They're not the type of team that sends you home 4-0. And Philly,
never die by the 3.
yes, and Philly can always win a game. They're too talented not to win 1 or 2 games in the series. I think this is going to go 6 games. They are too talented not to win 2 games. That does not mean because they evened out the series that the Boston Celtics are in trouble. They're not even close to in trouble. And I believe they're going to smoke the Sixers in game 3 tomorrow. That's just how good they are. And so this is par for the course. And I think one of the things that happens, we've reached this weird part of the NBA where you predict a series to go 6 games. The series is tied 1-1, which means you're on pace. But all of a sudden you have to overreact and act like the series is over or major momentum shifts have taken place. And that's just not what's happening here. It's Boston all the way.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. I think there was the stat going around how this is the most 1-1 series that we've had since the 80s. I know it's 1-1 series because there's a lot more talent in this league today, but we know who's going to end up winning these series. And like you said with Boston, they shoot more threes than anybody in the league. Nobody's going to live or die by the 3 more than the Boston Celtics, which means they will drop a game because you're going to have stretches where you shoot 25 to 30% from the 3-point line. And the opposing team has a good shooting game. Paul George is able to go off. Kelly Oubre is able to go off. So just this is what the Celtics do. They're going to live or die by the 3 if they can get back into the game with Derek White hitting 6 3-pointers. That's what they're going to live by. But yeah, Jason Tatum throwing him up, Jalen Brown throwing him up, and sometimes they go in. But some games you're going to shoot 30% from the 3-point line. You're not going to be able to go 45%. So this is how the Celtics play basketball, and Joe Mazzulla's okay with it.
So we got a legendary Toronto Raptors performance, the double 33. We got RJ Barrett scoring 33. We got Scotty Barnes scoring 33. They came out and they said, we're not going to get embarrassed at home. I thought that this series, the Raptors versus the Cavs, was going to be a 7-game series because I felt like the teams were actually close. And Cleveland came out hot at home. And maybe this is one of those series where just the home team keeps winning. We'll have to see in game 4. But I was impressed by the Toronto Raptors being able to step up to the plate and ball out. And specifically RJ, because Brandon Ingram has not been great this series in any of the games. And for RJ to step in and step up and for Scotty to show why he is an all-star level player, I thought it was fun to watch.
Yeah, RJ won them the game in that 4th quarter. Seemed like it was back-to-back possessions where he came down and just hit 3 after 3, and it was like, okay, RJ's here. He's ready for his playoff moment. Scotty Barnes led the way in the 3rd quarter. Scotty Barnes had an incredible game, just an overall great game. And then Battle hits at 14 points in the 4th quarter.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, Colin Murray-Boyles, the rookie, goes for 20+. Like, he was so dominant in the game. It was really cool to see. And then the Cavs just tried to get back into the game with 3-pointers. I mean, this was a 7-point game with a few minutes to go. And it seemed like Donovan Mitchell comes back in and we're just launching threes. Him and James Harden switching, launching threes. Evan Mobley even shooting a few. It wasn't working. And nobody scores 20+ for this team tonight because nobody's shooting the ball well. You need your superstars to play well. And if James Harden and Donovan Mitchell are both scoring sub 20 points, I think it's going to be really hard to win that game. So it's a great win for the Raptors. This could be a series if BI locks in. This is a guy who averaged 21.5 points per game, who's averaging 12 for this series, hasn't had one good game. So I'm going to need him to lock it in if the Raptors really want to force this. So yeah, that's what we're seeing from these teams.
I don't know if there's anything that's pissing me off more than the conversations coming out of the Lakers-Rockets series. And I'll explain to you what those are. Going into the series, everyone knew that the Lakers didn't stand a chance. That's what the media was saying. They were saying there's no way LeBron James is capable of winning this series without Luka and Austin Reeves. And then what does LeBron do? He goes full GOAT status and wins the games. And now the conversation from a few folks in the media is, well, we like the Lakers roster around LeBron more than the Rockets roster around Kevin Durant. And that's such a ridiculous thing for people to say, to just walk it back off of what they said going into the series, when you can't just put some respect on LeBron and Luke Kennard's name and Marcus Smart's name and DeAndre Ayton's name and Rui Hachimura's name and keep going and just keep going, because this is what's happening. Every single player on that Lakers roster is stepping up. Every single one of those players is picking up the slack, and they have been awesome at home. And so for that to be the conversation is ridiculous to me. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Could not agree more. My immediate thoughts is this is a complete embarrassment to the Rockets organization, especially to Kevin Durant. I don't know what is going on. I was one of the people who said there's no way that the Lakers can compete. They're missing their two best players. LeBron can't do this. So my apologies to the oldest man in the league for what he's doing out here. This is so fun to watch. When he is on the court, he is obviously the most impactful player, the most important player. And to the Rockets, you're letting Luke Kennard go for almost 30 points. Like this is the team that you're down 2-0 against. I would like to think that it's just home court advantage, but Şengün having stinkers. Every time Kevin Durant gets double teamed, it seems like he doesn't know what to do with the ball. Everything is out of whack with this team, and LeBron has entered playoff mode. So I would just like to apologize to LeBron and the Lakers, and to the Rockets. This is a huge embarrassment. I don't care how many points KD had. Watching game 2, he looked scared out there. So shout out to JJ Redick for the game plan that he put together. I think game 3 is going to be very telling, because we have a healthy Rockets team on their home court versus LeBron James, Luke Kennard, and Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton as the team. Like, this is truly embarrassing if you're a Rockets fan. So tomorrow's going to be very interesting.
I'm expecting to see the Lakers lose tomorrow. I think that the Houston's going to win. I think they're going to win big. Their pride is on the line. They're at home. A lot of the Lakers players do not play as well on the road. Role players in general typically play better at home than on the road. But the Lakers took care of business. They did what they needed to do, which is they won both games at home. And the more time that you can buy Austin Reeves and Luka, the better. And so playing on house money
was questionable for game 3, possibly.
Yeah.
Luka looks like he's getting healthy. If they can make it to round 2, he might be there. So, hey, LeBron might just be trying to buy these boys some time, and it might be really cool if they can get healthy. And did you see that LeBron said that this is the healthiest that he's felt since 2018? And let me just say, the man's putting up crazy performances right now. You could tell he's a little bit slower, but that IQ is still up there. He makes the right play just about every time. So, again, just apologizing for it seems like I do this every time with LeBron. It just ends up here.
Yeah, that's just what he does. LeBron has been playing for so long. He's been so great for so long that even Skip Bayless is giving him his flowers. That's how good LeBron is, okay? That's how good LeBron is. Moving on. Phoenix Suns versus the Thunder. I called out the playoff product. I said, this isn't good. I said the flopping, the flailing, it's not good. And it's every player. It's not just a handful of guys. I don't love what I'm seeing. And then if you watch that Thunder Suns game 2, you didn't like what you saw either. I don't care who you are. Anybody that doesn't live in the state of Oklahoma, there's no way you enjoyed what you watched in that game. And the fact that people are now pulling receipts on the referee, the fact that he was actually a huge Thunder fan in 2012, the fact that he was wearing shades at the game, and then just listens to Caruso and gives the tech when Devin Booker absolutely didn't throw the ball at that guy at all, just tried to save the ball. It's a joke. It's a complete joke. It's ruining the game. It's disgusting. I hate it. And I hate that Oklahoma City is so good and that this is the conversation, because they're good without this kind of stuff. They would win these games without this kind of stuff, but they still do this. And Mark Daigneault, I kind of want to call him out too, because this is your team. You're coaching this team and you're letting this stuff happen. Like, you're feeding into this. Come on, man. What are we doing? It's gross.
Yeah, this is that new era of basketball. And past couple of years, it's been fun to watch, but I will agree with you. I was wrong on this one. Like, I started watching it a bit more over these past couple of days since you said it. And OKC it's really disgusting now. Like, we're getting away from the game of basketball and getting more into playing to the refs. This is truly the worst level I've ever seen it. In recent years, we've seen a few flops here and there, but this team plays to the refs, gets calls because of the refs. I'm very interested to see what a game looks like in Phoenix for game 3, because this game was pretty competitive in game 2. Like, it's halftime and the Suns are right there, only down 7 points. Dylan Brooks goes for 30. Devin Booker and Jalen Green both have 20 plus points. So they're healthy. They can compete with this team. I'm really interested to see what a game 3 does for a home game for Phoenix. But yeah, I'll give you the flowers here. You called it out right before things got bad. The fact that Alex Caruso is able to say to a ref that's a technical foul, and they don't even review anything and just give him a tech, absolutely wild. And then Lou Dort doing what he usually does, Cason Wallace doing what he usually does, grabbing players' hands. It really seems OKC is just able to manipulate the game however they want, and there's no repercussions for it. So I think we need some changes to come because OKC is just getting less and less fun to watch. It's just making me more angry. Like you said, if you're not in the state of Oklahoma, it's not that fun to watch. It just gets annoying.
What's hard for me too is like the refs review the games, they watch the games. So you're seeing it in 4K. You're seeing the arm grab in 4K. And then you're going into the next game and you're standing, 12 feet away, watching them hold them, and you're not calling it. And I just don't understand it. I just don't get it, why it's not fair. Just make it fair.
One of the funny things I saw is I get the report, like they do their 2-minute report after the game. Mm-hmm. Devin Booker gets his fine, but technical foul rescinded. So Devin Booker gets fined for calling out the refs for a mistake that they made, but then they rescind the technical that happened because they know they were in the wrong. And Devin Booker called them out in the most respectful way. He said, in my 11 years of doing this, I have never called out a ref. I've never had any issues. But what happened tonight was bad for the game of basketball. And it was. It's really bad. So to fine a man for calling these refs out for their mistake and then the league saying that they were wrong, it's just kind of like there was no disrespect from Devin Booker. He was just genuinely, I should be able to call out a ref for making mistakes. Like, you do this as a professional job. We choose you to referee the playoffs. You're supposed to be the best of the best, and you're going to let a player sway you to call a technical foul. I know it's a very difficult job. It's got to be one of the most scrutinized jobs in the world.
Sure.
But we don't do that. We don't do that.
Well, I think this is why people just can't stand Adam Silver as a commissioner, is because it just feels like he doesn't have control over his own league. It feels like he is just... I think that's what it is. You've got owners like the new owner of the Portland Trailblazers who's not paying for his two-way guys to go to games. He's not paying for shirts in the stadium. Supposedly they have different memorabilia that's going to be given out in game 3. So we'll watch for that tomorrow. But you just have organizations doing weird stuff. You've got stuff like what's happening in Oklahoma City. Like, Adam, pick up the phone, call the heads of the referees, put your foot down, make them do something different, and do what a commissioner is meant to do. Improve the product for the fan so that we can watch Oklahoma City and we're going to get an enjoyable game. My question for you is, and I had texted you this after the game, looks like we're going to be missing Jalen for a while. Is this going to impact... this first round series is done. Like, the Thunder are going to beat the Suns. They're probably going to sweep them. But is this going to change anything on their playoff run with Jalen being out yet again?
I don't think so. I think this man missed 50-plus games for this team. And yes, he provides some 20-point games here and there. He does great things for this team. But I've never seen a team embody next man up more than the OKC team. Aaron Wiggins can randomly just turn into a starter and have 20-plus points. Cason Wallace was in that starting lineup and did great throughout the season. I think they're very well coached, and they 100% have that next man up mentality. And Chet has taken that role as the second option this year. I think him and Jalen Williams both had 19 against the Suns last night, but Chet's here now. This is what he does. He's had the season to kind of figure out his role without Jalen Williams being there. And yes, he helps the team, but does it affect them winning games? I don't think it does. They don't lose their best player. They don't lose their defense. They just lose more of that, second to third option guy who provides energy to this team. But I don't think we see much of a switch up from OKC. Here or there, but still the same team.
Moving to the Spurs and the Blazers, the series is tied 1-1. There's only one reason for it, and it's because we saw Victor Wembanyama go down with a concussion. Brutal concussion, really difficult to watch. When the eyes rolled back, I just was like, oh my gosh. And that's the thing with Wemby, right? Wemby on the court is going to be a top 3 player in the league. But how often are you going to get Wemby? And what types of injuries are we going to see him sustain over the course of his career? Because you want him to be What you don't want is for him to end up in Anthony Davis territory where he's so incredibly talented, but just off the floor so often that it's difficult to get maximum value. Because I'll tell you what, Deni Avdija, when Wemby's playing, not as impactful. Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, when Wemby's on the floor, not as impactful. You see Wemby disappear, Scoot has the best game of his career. You're about to see Deni have a big game 3 at home with no Victor Wembanyama in the paint. Now, that's not to say that the San Antonio Spurs can't win a game. They know how to win without Wemby. They've played plenty of games without Wemby. But the issue with San Antonio was the inability to close the game without Wemby. They were awesome for 3.5 quarters. But when it got down to crunch time, they were not able to close. And they didn't know who to go to. It was just random 3-point shots from Vassell and some of these other guys, some turnovers. I still believe San Antonio wins the series. I believe that you get Wemby in either game 4 or game 5. But now this series is going to go to 6 or 7 games. And so me, a Timberwolves fan who has the Timberwolves beating Denver, you're loving this. You're loving seeing the Spurs have to play extended games in their first playoff series. And ideally, if you can close your series out in 5 or 6, maybe you can even get some rest. And so I'm not worried about San Antonio, but I'll tell you what, the Blazers are going to make their presence felt in this game 3.
Yeah, I think game 3 or game 4, probably you get a Blazers win again. We probably leave Portland with this being a 2-2 series. But Devin Vassell said in his post-game interview, there's no replacing Victor Wembanyama, but it's another team that has that next man up mentality. And we have a pretty big sample size of what this team looks like without Victor. And they're still a good team. So I would expect for that backcourt of De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle to come into the game with a different mentality without him. And they're going to really step it up. So again, it's probably 6 games, but I think the Spurs get the job done. And this is their opportunity for me to show that they are a contender. Because you need your guys around Victor Wembanyama to be able to play good in a playoff series, to show that they can go out and compete with an OKC in a 7-game series. So if these guys can go out and beat this team who already stole 1 game from them with Wemby playing, take it that he was out for the half that they ended up winning.
Yeah.
If they can go out and not go to 7 games, if they can have some great complete games from their role players, Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox can step it up, this will show to me that they can really be a contender if Wemby can stay healthy.
Moving to the Pistons and the Magic. Everything we've seen up to this point is exactly what I thought. It's exactly what I talked about before. You had an Orlando team that was hot coming off of a big-time win against Charlotte, and they went in and they punked the Pistons, and the Pistons responded. Jalen Duren had a much better game. He remembered who he was. Remembered he was Jalen Duren. Cade was fantastic yet again, and it felt like that Detroit was able to settle in on defense as well, and Orlando just wasn't able to hit the shots that they hit in game 1. So I think that Detroit is, they got punched in the mouth. A little wake-up call, kind of stunned them for a second, but now they're ready to fight. And I think they're going to hurt the Magic in game 3. I think they're going to assert their dominance. A weird start time at 11 a.m. feels disrespectful for the Detroit Pistons that they got the 11 a.m. spot as the number 1 seed in the East. But hey, I guess that's just playoff basketball. But I think the Pistons, they're going to take care of business.
Agreed. Punched in the mouth early on, but it's just 1 game, and you're a brand new 1 seed. But game 2, this game was tied at halftime. It wasn't looking very much different, but then the Pistons go on almost a 30-point run, just a bunch of unanswered points.
That third quarter was insane.
The third quarter was just incredible.
Okay, who had a worse third quarter? Orlando or Denver?
No.
Orlando game 2 or Denver game 3? Because it got ugly in both. Yeah. It's got to be Orlando, though, because they couldn't score the ball at all. But man,
it was like 32-3 run over the course of that 8 minutes.
It's horrendous.
It was really bad. This game was 46-46 at halftime, and then it turned to that way. Yeah. Denver was also very bad and just exhausted for those first 6 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah, but that's coming out of halftime, dude. Good gracious. And they're the team that gets to play in Denver every single game.
They're not the traveling team in the Mile High City.
No, what is Rudy Gobert making them all run the floor? I don't get it. Desuma was the one making them run the floor. No.
Yeah.
Sorry. Back to the Magic. My bad.
No, you're good. That's a great point. Who had a worse start to the thing?
Okay.
Yeah, again, this is similar to that Cavs game for me. Nobody goes for 20 plus on that Magic team, just still trying to find their identity of who's going to score because we know Paulo's inefficient. Franz is coming off of his injury. Desmond Bane is new to this team. So all these guys just end up with around 15 points, and it's who's going to be our guy that's going to take us when things are down? Who's going to be that guy that can consistently score 25 points per game, and it's not there. And the Pistons get that help from, like a Duncan Robinson, a guy who's had deep playoff runs, because the Pistons weren't hitting the three ball. But who was hitting the three ball? The one guy who you can guarantee is going to be hitting some threes for this type of a team, Duncan Robinson. So I think he was a big lift for the team. And then obviously Cade is just, he's playing really good for this.
So good.
For this
he's great.
So fun to watch him control the game. So I'm excited to watch the rest of this series, but hopefully Magic can do something at home.
All right, and that is Season 3, Episode 28, a Nightcap edition where we do a quick recap of all the games we've gotten to see. You get to hear how we feel about the series. I still feel very confident in just about everything that we predicted. We thought that the Knicks and the Hawks, it was going to get scary. That the Knicks are not going to have a good playoff run. Sorry, Knicks fans. We knew that the Thunder were going to win big. I was on the Timberwolves. You were on the Nuggets. That series is way too early to just make a decision on. Jokic is still an incredible player. He could win a game by himself if he wants to. Spurs Blazers stays fun. Cavs Raptors feels very competitive now. The biggest shock for me has been the Lakers. I think that's the biggest shock for sports media in general. But man, I'll tell you what, I am speeding as quickly as I can to get home from work to watch these games. My wife is out of town. She's on a girls' trip right now. And so I've got the boys. I'm watching the boys. And the only thing we're doing is watching the postseason. All right. Both my boys are watching the playoffs, and Royce is dunking the ball in every timeout. Like, they are being indoctrinated in this NBA fandom. It's been so fun to watch.
Perfect setup there. The hoop on that right side.
Yep.
The TV right there is kind of perfect.
It's not bad. And then the fact that the games have been on Prime or Peacock, I just take my iPad and put it in the kitchen if I got to cook dinner. It's not bad.
I'm loving that this year. It's so much better. You randomly get your ESPN nights, but to just be switching between Peacock and Prime has been so much better.
Awesome.
Especially when awesome. Every game is, because I remember in previous years, it was like, okay, your 5 o'clock game is on ABC. Then the 6 o'clock game is on TNT. And you just had to keep switching.
Yeah.
But it's working out so much better. And NBC/Peacock has been so good. Like, they care so much. They're trying to get that retro vibe into it. The Prime, like Steve Nash, Dirk, Udonis Haslem, and Blake Griffin, the analysis stuff is great. So I love that they're taking this a lot more serious, and we're actually getting good post-game, good pre-game. Like, it's just, the playoffs feel exciting, and I'm really enjoying it.
It's weird that inside the NBA feels like it might be the worst pre-game, mid-game, post-game coverage.
Wild to say.
Yes, because NBC, it's tactical conversation. It's a legitimate basketball discussion. It's how do you make the adjustments? What adjustments would you make? What does that play look like? How are they supposed to get around the pin down? Like, that's the type of stuff that T-Mac and Vince and Carmelo are talking about. Yeah, like from legitimate scorers of the basketball. And we're not talking like middling players like Kendrick Perkins, who thinks he was an incredible player and was very average. Like, we're talking about all-time great players are evaluating the game on Prime and on Peacock. And they've been fantastic. Blake Griffin is great. I love the edge that Udonis brings, but he's so pro players being great at what they do. Yeah. Like, he brings an edge, but it's an uplifting edge anytime he talks to those guys. I love that. I think Dirk's awesome. I think Steve's been solid as well. Like, I'm a big fan of the playoff product from a viewership standpoint. And then the quick halftime, too, has been fun, where I feel like you're back into the game after 10 minutes. Really nice.
Really quick. Just get like 10 to 15 minute halftime. You go over the stats, go over specific plays, and it's enjoyable because you're hearing it from the greats. I'm so happy to listen to T-Mac and Carmelo Anthony go back and forth about what they'd like to see out of the second half out of these players, or
what they would do if they were Paolo Banchero. Like, it's just fantastic. Yeah.
You get Blake Griffin and Udonis Haslem alongside Dirk and Steve Nash. Just great minds of the game, just kind of talking through things. And both the hosts of both shows have been really good too. So loving what's going on with all of this new networks getting in on the NBA playoffs.
Yeah. Listen, let us know your thoughts on the NBA playoffs so far. We want to know, what's your biggest surprise and what are you hoping to see over the course of the next 2 or 3 games? We will be back with a full episode on Sunday night. We'll record it Sunday night. We will post it Monday morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So stay tuned for season 3, episode 29. And if you are not subscribing, please click that subscribe button right now and share this podcast with someone that is watching these games so that they can know what we know, which is how the game of basketball is meant to be played. That's going to be it for season 3, episode 28. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.